Hello everyone, happy Friday to you all. Lovely to have you with me today, and it's a big day, I guess, because it's today and probably, well, just in a few hours' time, or maybe it's even happened by the time you're watching this, fair chance, when Celtic will find out who we're going to play in the incredibly badly named UEFA Champions League knockout playoff round. Is it going to be Bayern Munich? Is it going to be Real Madrid? It's not the choice a lot of us would have wanted, but that's the way things are going to go. So we're going to discuss that and a whole lot else today. Okay, so today's draw, UEFA say it will get underway at 11 a.m. Scotland time. As always, they'll have their usual time delay and nonsense going on. Shouldn't be quite as bad as like the league phase draw when they hand out awards and all that kind of stuff. Shouldn't have that stuff today, but it might still be a little bit delayed. So you can probably make yourself a cuppa or something at 11 o'clock and then fire on, then you won't have missed anything. I've been trying to find out exactly how this is going to work, and it's actually pretty simple. It's very simple, but I'm probably, by explaining it, going to actually make it seem quite complicated, so I'll do my best not to do that. Basically, they're going to have 8 bowls, each with 2 balls in them, 2 teams. So we're going to be in a bowl with Manchester City. There's going to be a bowl with Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. And UEFA are basically going to work through these different bowls, starting with the unseeded teams and starting with 23rd and 24th. That's Sporting Lisbon and Club Brugge. It will then be on to our bowl, ourselves and Man City. They'll pull one of the balls out, and whoever comes out first, either ourselves or Man City, will be on the left-hand side of the bracket. So the silver side, for those of you watching. Then obviously the other team comes out, they're on the other side. They'll go with the rest of the unseeded teams. Then they'll move to the seeded teams. They'll come to the one with Real Madrid or Bayern, and we'll find out exactly who we're going to play. So it should be pretty simple, I would say. A reminder that the first leg will be at Celtic Park with the return game away from home. We should get the exact date and times for these fixtures this evening, UEFA say. As usual, we'll play one game on a Tuesday, one game on a Wednesday. And it's just the playoff draw today. So we won't know whether it's Atletico Madrid or Leverkusen that we're beating after we batter Real Madrid or Bayern. We won't find that out today. We'll have to wait a couple of weeks for that. And just basically a reminder that this knockout playoff round is starting in like 11 or 12 days. So it's not like the old days when you would get the draw after the group stage in mid-December and you'd have like a 2-month wait to play your last 16 match. It's almost like a kind of incredibly quick turnaround when you consider all the various things that the clubs will have to do. I mean, the clubs themselves, the teams will have to arrange transport and all that kind of thing. But like ticket sales and stuff like that, I mean, tickets are probably going to go up on Monday, you would think, with the game at Celtic Park 8 or 9 days later. So very quick turnaround. I kind of like it though, in a weird way. I was going to come up with some sort of analogy about being on death row and not having to wait too long to meet your fate. Probably a little bit dark that for 7 a.m. So I guess you got the idea anyway. Let's move on to cheerier things. Transfer-wise, this isn't actually cheerier because it's now widely being reported that Kieran Tierney won't be joining us this month. Yes, yet another reason to dislike Mikel Arteta. He's going to spend the final 5 months of his Arsenal career at Arsenal, I guess. The Telegraph are reporting this, the Daily Mail too. That's kind of the story. We'll come on to what it means for Celtic, but just a few other wee things on Tierney, saying that Bayer Leverkusen, Sevilla, Juventus and Everton were all interested in him, which again, obviously we've got the attachment to Kieran Tierney and he's got an attachment to Celtic, he's a Celtic fan, etc. But when you see the teams that are in for him, it really does bring it home how much of a coup it is for Celtic to bring someone like Kieran Tierney to the club. Obviously he's had his injury troubles, but like an unbelievable player when he plays. So what a signing for us. They are reporting that it's going to be a 4-year deal that he's going to sign in the summer. So that's, a pretty big commitment, I would say, from Celtic. But I guess Kieran Tierney is showing a big commitment to us as well. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it could all change, but it seems very much now that Kieran Tierney isn't going to be coming in this month. Alex Valle has departed the scene, so it's basically only Greg Taylor we have at left back at the moment. I know you're shouting out Liam Scales' name. I know he can play at left back. That's where he played when he first came to the club. He is seen as a centre back now these days, and I think will only play at left back as a last resort. So pretty sure that Celtic are going to move for another left back between now and the end of the window. But it's a bit of a strange situation because it's going to be a loan signing. We know that Tierney's coming in the summer. Obviously, the Greg Taylor situation hasn't been sorted out yet, so we're not sure quite yet whether Taylor will be with us as well. So there maybe could be an opportunity for someone to come in now on loan and potentially impress and maybe be signed permanently in the summer. But it does seem generally like this is going to be the biggest stopgap of all time. We're going to bring someone in just to kind of beef up our left back numbers for the rest of the season. And yeah, it is a strange situation. I mean, Manchester United's Tyrell Malacia has been mentioned. Enda brought that up yesterday. He's said to be on a list of options, and I'm guessing it's a pretty similar list of options to the one we had in the summer when we eventually went for Alex Valle. Probably a case of just bringing that sheet of paper back out of Peter Lawwell's filing cabinet. That's terrible. Peter Lawwell's not involved in transfer stuff, or is he? Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with the left back stuff. Yeah, I know some people are looking at the Valle situation and potentially saying, oh, Celtic shouldn't have let him go and having a go at Celtic for doing that. I really don't think it was a case of Celtic allowing Alex Valle to go, because why would we? Why would we say, when we clearly hadn't had word from Arsenal that Tierney could join this month, why would we suddenly say, oh, Alex, just on you go, it'll probably be all right? That hasn't happened, and Brendan Rodgers himself said that he's disappointed that Valle's left, but we have to move on. That's a direct quote from the manager. So yeah, it doesn't seem like the club's doing that Alex Valle moved on. Reading between the lines, potentially he's seen that Tierney's coming in and realises he's not really got a future at Celtic, or maybe just the fact that he hasn't been playing so far this season. He wants to go somewhere for the second half of the season where he can play more football. Regardless, Valle is away, and I think it's going to be a loan signing at left back between now and the end of the window. Someone like Malacia would be decent enough. I think he's 25 years old. He's been captain 9 times by the Netherlands. So ideally someone who can come in and improve the first team, just like Kieran Tierney will do in the summer. The kind of weird situation that we're in is that, and I really don't want to confine the rest of our season to 2 matches, because clearly there's so much more happening. We're going for the league, we're going for the treble, even once we go out of Europe. But even for Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, Greg Taylor's probably going to play those games, isn't he? Because we're talking 10, 11 days, as I say, and we've not got a left back in yet. So it seems unlikely to me we'd sign a left back and then play them ahead of Greg Taylor in those big games. I mean, pretty sure Taylor's going to start both of those matches. So you're then kind of questioning, it's a daft thing to say, but what do you need a top left back for the rest of the season? And obviously you always want to improve, regardless of if you're in Europe or not. You always want to be as good as you can be. But I was almost wondering if it would be worth taking a look at someone like Matthew Anderson, who is very highly rated. He's out on loan still with Admiral Vacker, I think that's how you pronounce it, out on loan for the rest of the season. So maybe there wouldn't be much point in bringing him back, but would it be a good opportunity to have a look at him between now and the end of the season? I guess the problem would be if Greg Taylor picks up an injury, then you're reliant on a guy who's never played for the first team. So I totally get why Celtic are looking at a left back on loan, someone like Malacia, but it just feels like a 6 months and done type job. And I always think when you sign a player on loan who basically knows they're not going to be at the club next year, Jeremy Toljan is the obvious name going through my mind. I feel like it very rarely works. The real loans we've had success with in recent years have been ones where players have come in and then had an opportunity to stay at the club. So yeah, a wee bit of a place we find ourselves in, just waiting on Tierney coming in. Another reason to dislike Mikel Arteta. I think I'll get a t-shirt made with that. Would that be popular? I don't know. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. The striker stuff is maybe heading towards a loan as well. I think there was a report, Anthony Joseph saying the other day, that we are in talks now with Brøndby over Mathias Kvistgaarden. I personally, and it's not my money, so it's easy to say, it's not any, well, I suppose it is kind of our money because we put it in. Spend the money, Celtic. Get him in now. Replace Kyogo. We have so much money there, even if it has to be a transfer record. If Kvistgaarden is a guy you believe in, and it seems like that's the case, and he has quite a good track record, get him in now. What a boost that would be to everyone at the club. That's all I'm saying on the striker stuff for now, because no real developments there. Elsewhere, reports in Greece saying Luis Palma is heading out to Olympiacos on loan, which I would say is a pretty good move for him. He's obviously played in Greece previously. That's where we signed him from, with Aris Thessaloniki. And we're said to want to include a purchase clause in his move. Olympiacos maybe not quite as keen. I did enjoy this image that was shared by SNS of the Celtic support celebrating at Villa Park on Wednesday night. And they posted this and spoke about a former Celtic defender in this image. So it might be quite hard to see, but I'll do my best to point out. It's kind of, see the guy in the kind of, I'm so bad at describing things. Is that like a kind of light green jacket and he's got his hands, it's kind of centre of the screen and he kind of stands out and he's got his hands out like doing the Bruni. Just two to the left of him, there's a guy in a black hat. And I think it says Celtic on the hat. Shane Duffy. Yeah, what a spot. And then if you go all the way up to the top right hand side, top right, 3 down, the guy looking to his left with a cap on, and that's David Turnbull. And I believe there's a few other players in there, maybe not in this image, but in the away. I think Joe Ledley was there. I believe Turnbull's maybe with a Cardiff teammate. I'm not sure. I've never heard of the guy. But yeah, pretty cool spot there. I enjoyed that. And yeah, we had the match reaction with Enda joining me yesterday, so check that out if you haven't already. There was a few Villa fans on there as well, maybe some watching today as well. I'd kind of have to question why. Maybe you just quite like Celtic, I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't have anything else to say. So we'll move on. Amateur Hour Pod saying, I was so proud of our team and the way we reacted to conceding those 2 goals in the opening 5 minutes. We've all seen it before. We know the cold shower-like feeling. This could be another one of those nights. Think of the immense pressure being on that pitch as that's happening, but the guys dug in deep. They stayed calm and professional. Not only that, they silenced the raucous crowd at the end of the second half and were able to show our quality. There's a whole host of reasons why we didn't end up winning the game, and of course we don't want to be in these difficult scenarios to begin with, but we showed real cojones to come back and contest that first half. Yeah, you're always disappointed to lose games, and as I said yesterday, we don't lose very many games at Celtic, so and even in the Champions League this year, that was only our second loss from 8 games, and you really would have been pretty surprised to hear that before the campaign, given some of the fixtures that we had. So yeah, it's never nice losing, but I thought we did pretty well considering we were missing so many players, and we gave Villa a 2-goal head start. So I thought there was definitely positives to be taken from the game, and to be honest, I'm kind of moved on from it already. Paul Clark, we can't give teams of this calibre a 2-goal start, but a big plus was how we knuckled down and then got back into the game. Big Ida will push on now after those 2 goals. It was a big game for Big Ida. 2 really good goals as well. That first one, I think, is a really underrated finish. To think so quickly and have the, flexibility, agility, whatever, to position your leg and stick that into the net. I think that was a really, really underrated finish. And hopefully now he's got over that goal drought and netted a couple of goals. He can really kick on now. He's got a big opportunity. Now Kyogo's moved on. Yeah, huge chance, starting at the weekend to really become a main Celtic man. And I just think people change so quickly about Adam Ida. Like, folk are slagging him off for weeks, and now suddenly he's, this great striker. And I think it's somewhere in between. I think he has the potential to be a great Celtic striker. And I think we've seen that in glimpses, but I think he can show it more. But I've obviously stood up for Adam Ida a fair bit. He's certainly not a flop or a waste of money like a lot of people have said. Sugarman saying, we were punished for our mistakes while we were unable to take advantage of Villa's. Generally thought we played well with what was a severely depleted squad. Can't fault the players at all, but I'm pretty miffed by the people running the club for allowing important players to leave before this game. I get we are a selling club, but to do so before the campaign is over shows a serious lack of ambition. Yeah, again, it was just a combination of factors, from injuries to suspensions to players being left. And yeah, I guess we could have held on to Kyogo for another week. I think if we hadn't have beaten Young Boys, Kyogo would probably have stayed for Villa, because I can't imagine us letting him go while we were still going for the top 24. I could be wrong. I mean, Ida, who was playing for Kyogo, scored a couple of goals. Maybe, Kyogo would have scored them and you'd have had Ida coming off the bench rather than Cummins. I just think it was a difficult situation for Celtic on Wednesday. But yeah, I think all things considered, we'd all have signed up for losing at Villa Park, but making the top 24. I think it's a great achievement, and there's so much excitement still in the air and things to look forward to. And yeah, we're playing this weekend as well. We go to Fir Park to face Motherwell. Still managerless Motherwell, I believe. I don't think they've appointed anyone yet. So yeah, we'll have the draw today. We'll have Brendan Rodgers' press conference reacting to that and the transfer stuff, and plenty to discuss. And I'm going to stick out a video tomorrow morning as well. So yeah, that's January wrapped up, everyone. Thanks for the support. Speak to you in February.